What do I know? I'm just a girl on the internet. For those of you that are watching the video form of Girl on the Internet podcast, you may notice my crew neck sweatshirt. This is in fact my new favorite thing of all time, and I will not exclusively be wearing it just during fall and Halloween time. I will be wearing it at any given chance possible because this is in fact my new favorite thing. And for my audio listeners, I am in fact wearing a gray crew neck sweatshirt with a black hat on it that's wearing a black witch's Halloween hat, and it's sitting next to a jack-o'-lantern. So if you're wondering if that's my new personality trait for the next few weeks, if not months, yes, it is. Anyways, welcome back to Girl on the Internet podcast. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the love and support for the last week, and honestly the last year or so that I've had this podcast, but especially in the last week just launching season 2, the new podcast art, Instagram, the video form of this podcast. It's just been such a fun week, and I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying the content and that you decided to continue to hang out with me for this next season that's coming on. For those of you that have subscribed to the YouTube channel, you followed on the Instagram, just a real sincere thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And yes, for those of you that missed it, this is now season 2 of Girl on the Internet podcast, as well as I've rolled out some video content, so be sure to go check that out over on my YouTube channel, which is just Kayla Nelson. And all the info and links and things that you need for this podcast are going to be linked at the end of every episode. So no matter where you listen or watch, you have all the links provided there for you. Also, make sure to follow at Girl on the Internet Pod on Instagram so you can keep up with all things Girl on the Internet podcast, from new episodes to posts to Q&As. Be sure to follow. So recently, when it comes to coming up with topics for the podcast and coming up with things that I want to talk about or I want to share my thoughts and opinions on, recently I've been getting a lot of inspiration, believe it or not, from TikTok. And it's not necessarily that I'm going on TikTok and I'm searching podcast topics or anything like that. It's more or less I will be scrolling on my For You page and a pretty popular video comes up or something of interesting topic will pop up, or a video that just has a ton of likes, and the comment section is just where people are sharing their thoughts and opinions. Or, sometimes when you go on a popular video and the video is average, but it's the comment section that's actually where all of the juicy info and topics of conversation are. That's what has given me a lot of inspiration as of recently. And the other day I was scrolling like normal, and I came across this video where this creator, this girl, she was sharing her story on why she broke up with her boyfriend. And it was kind of like a multi-part series, and she was just sharing different things and things that kind of those straw that broke the camel's back kind of moments. And she was talking about specifically how one of the reasons that she decided to break up with her boyfriend was because she was having to beg him to do the bare minimum. And this video provided so many duets and stitches, and the comment section was truly just a wild place to be in that moment. So many people were sharing their experiences with being in friendships or relationships where the other person was doing the bare minimum or wasn't even doing the bare minimum, and how they navigated that, what they did, what their take was, and how the other person responded to such feedback. So the main girl in the video, who was talking about why she broke up with her boyfriend for not doing the bare minimum, she explained what her definition of the bare minimum was and some of the things that her boyfriend wasn't doing, and she was literally having to beg him to sort of do for her in this relationship, which got me thinking this would make a great podcast episode to talk about, because I, for one, related to just about everything she was saying in that video, in that 30-second TikTok video. I actually have a whole separate podcast episode talking about why it's okay to be picky, and for anything in your life that is important to you or means a lot to you, if you're allowed to be picky, then you should be. And chances are, if people in your life think you're being picky, you're probably not being picky. You just have standards, or you are someone that really takes decision making seriously, or anything that happens in your life, you just want it to be something that you think about and something that you honor before you just randomly decide on something. So be sure to go check out that episode, but I talk about why it's okay to be picky, especially when it comes to relationships or anything in your life that you are willing to invest in. Be picky. It's okay. Have standards. It's fine. So a lot of people in the comment section of this video had a lot to say when it came to what exactly is the bare minimum. Now, speaking in terms of relationships, and especially in like heterosexual relationships, a lot of the times like the girls were saying, oh, well, I think the bare minimum is buying flowers for the girl, or holding the door open for a girl, or picking up the bill on the first date. Things like that. Sort of those stereotypical like guy-girl role relationship things. And honestly, I was thinking about it and I actually would disagree with some of those things. I think the bare minimum goes so much further than just, oh, someone buying flowers or asking someone out on a date or whatever. The bare minimum is just that. It is the literal bare minimum of what it means to be a decent human being, in my opinion. So this is things like basic human decency and courtesy and trust and loyalty and decent communication and compassion and being willing or able to split up tasks and chores and things like that in the relationship or in the friendship or whatever it is. It can be, platonic or romantic. It really doesn't matter. Now, in my opinion, those are what I consider examples of the bare minimum. I'm not even talking about getting into the relationship, the flowers, the dates, the opening the door, like those. To me, those are more traits that you would want in somebody. I'm rolling it all the way back to what are just some basic human things that one person can do for another person and just show up in that relationship, in that friendship, whatever it is. I think what kills me the most is when I see people, I think typically, especially women in heterosexual relationships, and they're like, oh my gosh, he responded to my text message. Oh my God, he remembered my birthday. Oh my gosh, he helped me with the dishes. I'm like, girl, he is doing basic human decency things, and we gotta stop rewarding the bare minimum behavior. We have to stop rewarding men for doing the bare minimum, okay? We have to stop treating bare minimum behavior like it is a favor, like it is something that is this gold standard when it is just that. It is just the bare minimum. It is a normal set of things that a person can do or qualities that somebody can have to just be a good person wherever they show up, whether they are showing up at a job, in a relationship, in a friendship, in life. It's just being a good human. Someone having good communication skills isn't a green flag. That's a normal thing you should have. You're an adult, okay? You have your phone in your hand 24/7. We live on our phones. Our phones are always in proximity. It's being put 2 feet away from us when we go to sleep at night and being put on the charger. If they're not responding to you before the end of the night, okay, that's weird. Why would they not have good communication with you? Especially in this day and age when our phones literally don't leave our hands. Huh? Oh my God, he put his dishes in the dishwasher without me having to ask. It was so nice of him, so courteous. I love him. Green flag. Girl, be so for real. Be so for real. We are not going to reward basic human behavior, basic human decency. I think it just kills me when especially men think that they're going above and beyond. And I'm like, okay, you're just doing the right thing. You're just doing the right thing, babes. Come on. And as I'm getting a little bit heated and more into the topic of conversation here, here's my little preface, here's my little disclaimer. I know it's not all men. It's also not all women. It's not every single relationship. It's not every single guy. It's not everybody. We're not grouping every person into one category. I understand. I'm going to be speaking from my own perspective of relationships or situationships, coming from the perspective of a woman who has been with men, or speaking from the outside perspective of some of my friends who are also women who have dated certain men, or I've seen behavior of certain men with my friends. So that's what I'm speaking of. I'm not categorizing all guys. I'm only going to comment on things that I've witnessed. And there's my disclaimer. It absolutely kills me. I have seen so many of my friends just go through certain boyfriends when just being around, me being around them is painful. Because the lack of effort that they're putting into one of my friends, who, first of all, my friends, I'm hyping them up constantly. And I have some really incredible friends. They are intelligent. They are incredible. Beautiful, they are worthy, they're confident, they are funny, they are good people. And when I in the past have seen some of my friends with these guys that could care less about them or are giving them the literal bare minimum, and they are rewarding this good behavior, I'm just like, what are we doing? There are so many other guys out there that would be and could be giving you so much more than the current guy that they're with. And I get it. Sometimes we ignore the red flags. We ignore the things that people are doing because we're just in a place where we just want that physical togetherness, or we just want the random situationship or hookup. I get it. I understand that. Oh, so you mean to tell me that they're supportive of you and you're obsessed with that characteristic of him? He supports you in your hobby and your jobs? Oh, so you mean basic human decency. Got it. Okay. Oh, he texts you back in a timely manner and that's a green flag? Girl, it's not a green flag. It's being a good person. Yeah, that's the bare minimum. Truly, it really is. I know for a fact that so many women can relate to this, myself included. The standard for women has been just completely deranged, for lack of a better word, for so many centuries. Just the roles of men versus women, the standard of beauty, the standard of just existing, essentially. It has just been ridiculous for so many years. And I think now we're approaching this generation of women who are like, I don't want to be categorized as this like perfect kind of woman to live to appeal to a man, or to look a certain way to make men happy, or to fit their characteristic of a perfect woman. So many of us are so tired of fitting into this box of a standard that is to please a man only. And it's like, for example, guys that are like, oh, I don't like girls that wear makeup. It's like, I like a natural girl. Okay, I'm sorry, Chad. Do you really think that I'm wearing makeup for you? Do you think I'm putting glitter on my eyelids and doing mascara for you? No, I'm not. No, it's not for you. I'm not here to please you. I'm not here to be something that you can just look at. It's not for you. You ever thought I'm just doing it for myself? You ever think I put this cute outfit on for me? Like, really think about that. And again, this standard for women has been just so insane for so long. But even thinking about, like, if any of you watch the Barbie movie, just being like, oh, well, men want women who are thin, but not too thin, and like curvy with an ass, but like not too big, because then you're like borderline fat and nobody wants that. And we want big boobs, but like, if you have stretch marks, like, we don't want that either. And, I like long hair, but then not too long, but then not too short, because then that makes you not look as feminine. And then like, you have to have goals and hobbies, but like, you can't be the breadwinner. You can't make more than me. You can't be too much of a boss, because then you're bossy. But then like, you can't be too domineering, because then I'm supposed to be the man in the relationship. And then, I don't want a girl who sleeps around, because then she's a slut. But like, I'm also not going to date a girl who's a virgin and just like not experienced. It's like, it's so confusing, because the standard of women is so unpredictable, and it's also impossible to tap into all these categories. And then for what? To please a man? I'm sorry, you think I'm living my life to please a man? Huh? No, that's not what this is. That's not how I'm choosing to live my life. And I'm sorry, if we're setting all these unobtainable standards, if you're gonna make me try to fit into this little box to appease you, but you won't text me back, but you're not going to act like an adult and put your own dishes in the dishwasher, and you're not going to listen to me after I've had a hard day, and you're not going to support me in the things that I'm going through, and you're not going to be respectful to me and to my friends and to the server at the restaurant? Huh? I'm sorry. Oh, but yeah, you want me to have a perfect body and big boobs and wear makeup all the time and cook you a hot dinner. Oh, no. No, because if you're not doing the bare minimum, it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. And here's the thing. I'm not going to beg you to do the bare minimum for me either. Because like, been there, done that. When you have to beg a guy to communicate with you better, when you have to beg a guy to treat you a little bit kinder, or to show interest in the things that you like, or to act entertained, I'm sorry, can you just like pretend like you care? Never again will I do that. Never again. Because here's the thing. When you're going to sit here and you're going to tell me about your video games and how obsessed you are with the characters in your video game and your little imaginary world, but when I'm telling you about my real life problems, and when I'm telling you about things that I actually care about in this life, and you're going to be like, I don't want to hear about it. Like, I'm just tired. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. Mm-hmm. Oh, that sucks. LOL. We're not doing that. That's not how adults communicate. If I'm having to beg you to listen to me about things that I actually care about, or things that I need help with or feedback on, and you're not willing to help me with that, bye. Here's my other hot take on the bare minimum. People having and doing the bare minimum does not mean that you are being picky. In terms of seeking out a relationship or a guy that you're interested in, if you're talking to your friends and you're like, yeah, I just want him to be, good at communicating. I want him to be helpful when it comes to chores or things in life. I want him to be respectful. I want him to be loyal. If someone looks you in the face and says, oh my God, you're being so picky, I really want you to question that and be like, what about that is picky? Because I think I just described an adult. I think I just described someone that has basic human decency. I didn't know those qualities meant I was being picky, because for me, picky is like they have to be 6'5", they have to be working in finance, they have to make 6 figures a year, they have to live here, they have to have this car. To me, that's picky. If I'm just listing off these traits that would check off the bare minimum, then I don't think that's being picky. And the reason I'm saying that is because some people don't have the bare minimum qualities. Because again, there have been times where I've had to beg certain guys to have those qualities, to demonstrate that they have good communication, that they care about me. Those were not my best times, and we're past that, and we've learned. But the reason I'm stating those qualities and those characteristics is because some people don't have them. And if you were in your late 20s, early 30s, and you still don't have those, when your frontal lobe is fully developed, it's not looking so good for you. It's just not looking good for you. I think too, a lot of guys are stuck in this headspace of, well, I'm the sole provider. I'm the breadwinner. I'll pay for the date, but you need to be doing the chores. You need to be doing this. You need to be submissive to me. You need to be that. Listen, buddy, times have changed. Okay, you can still be the sole breadwinner. Heck, I could be the sole breadwinner, but we still need to treat each other with respect. And I get it. Sometimes relationships aren't 50-50. I understand that, but it doesn't need to be fitting in this box of like, well, I'm the woman, so I should look a certain way and dress a certain way and have these certain characteristics, and I should be the one doing the chores all the time, and I should be the one doing X, Y, and Z. The roles have changed over the years, okay? This isn't the 1950s anymore. It doesn't need to be that way. We can help each other. We can collaborate and coexist together where we're both helping each other out with things. We're both living and being together in unison and in harmony. And there's no reason why you can't show those basic human traits in order to be a good person and to have a successful relationship or even have a successful friendship, whatever it is, because all of these things can apply to a platonic friendship as well. If you have a best friend who is not communicating with you, who refuses to make plans with you, who is not giving you the time of day, who doesn't care about your goals and dreams and things that you want to do, they're not a good friend. And you can find somebody else out there who's going to care about you and who'd be willing to do these things for you and be there for you in other ways. If someone just doesn't care about you, they're not listening, they're not willing to give you that good communication, they're not willing to help you out with the struggles in your life, move on. Like, they do not care about you. You may not notice it, but they don't care about you. And you may not sense it, but when they're not giving you that decent communication, when they're not trying to help you out through the difficult things in your life, when they're not willing to hear you out for having a hard day or hear you out for the things that you love and you're interested in and you just want to tell somebody about it, that in itself is a way that proves that that person just doesn't care. They're not willing to give you the time of day. They don't really care about you. If you think about it, if they're not willing to give you the bare minimum, what makes you think the rest of your time with this person, again, whether this be a friendship or a relationship, if they can't be this person for you in the first several weeks, few months, if they can't give you good communication, if they can't be loyal to you, if they're not respectful to you, if you're not treating you with respect physically, mentally, psychologically, what makes you think that they're going to just magically grow into that 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line? If they can't provide that for you up front, then they're not going to do that later on. And it is not your job. It's not your responsibility to beg for those qualities. It's not your job to teach them how to be respectful, how to be loyal, how to be a good person. I do believe in relationships you can support each other, you can help each other grow, you can help each other be better versions, but you are not solely responsible to help this person grow up and to be more mature and to be functioning like an adult. I am not going to sit here and help you communicate better. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to text your mom after she is begging you to answer her phone calls. I'm not going to sit here and teach you how to do the dishes at 28 years old. That's completely different. I'm not going to beg for you to remember to do certain things for me when they're just basic human traits that you should have as an adult. I think that's where people get a little bit stuck, is they're like, no, I'm helping this person grow, or, oh, I can change them, or I can do this. And it's like, that's fine if you want to waste your time on trying to change somebody that can't be changed. But one thing I'm not going to do is sit here and beg for you to have these bare minimum traits and these bare minimum qualities. Okay, like that's not what we're doing. Okay, like I said, the frontal lobe fully developed and you're still acting like a child. I'm not fixing that, and I'm not willing to waste my time so you can be more mature, so you can start to act like a normal human being. It's like, we're not doing that. Hi, Daphne, come here. Come on. Daphne has joined the chat. She said, don't subscribe to the bare minimum. She said, don't put up with that, right? Sometimes my close friends and family will crack jokes once in a while about me having never been in a long-term serious relationship. And that's fine. Whatever. I roll with the punches. I don't care. You can crack all your jokes all you want. But there's a reason for that. And it's because every guy that I've ever been involved with to some capacity, whether it was a near relationship, a situationship, a hookup, I have just been with the wrong kind of guys where I've had to beg them to do simple things. And it got exhausting. And then I decided to learn from those mistakes and learn from those moments and be like, I am no longer wasting my time begging these guys to do basic things. And again, not even things that are above and beyond, like going on specific dates or buying me these specific things or treating me like a princess. Like, I'm not asking for the world. I'm asking you to just do the bare minimum. Obviously, in certain relationships, there should be more. There should be an expectation. There should be a standard. But to have to ask somebody and to beg someone to do, again, the bare minimum, which is the topic of this podcast, that's when I draw the line. And that's when I began to learn, okay, this is a waste of my time. This is going nowhere. And it's not my responsibility to teach these guys how to behave. It's not my job. I'm not your mother. Okay. And I will not be doing that ever again. And honestly, until I can find a guy who can do the bare minimum and then some, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be willing to actually settle into a relationship with these guys. Because for so long, I would be the one who wouldn't want to commit to this guy. I was the one that's like, no, I don't want to date you. I don't want to be boyfriend, girlfriend, because of how they were acting. I would still be with them or in this situationship or whatever, but I would be the one who would actually reject the opportunity to be boyfriend, girlfriend, because I was like, I'm not ready to be official with you yet if you're still behaving this way. And I would kind of string them along a little bit. I'd try to work on them a little bit. And then it just got to the point where I was like, oh, it's been 4 months and I'm exhausted of this and you haven't changed and you are still doing whatever is below the bare minimum. Like having to ask a guy to have basic hygiene too. Oh my God. Asking a guy to like change the sheets on his bed or to like do laundry or again to text his mom. I'm like, it's exhausting. Like, you are not a child anymore. Oh my God, you are a full-grown adult. Act like one. Another thing that I've talked about on the podcast before and have an episode dedicated to it is weaponized incompetence. And this is something that has been very prevalent in my past relationships before or past situationships or whatever you want to call them. Like this idea of like, oh, I can't do that because I just like, I'm going to mess it up or I don't know how to do it right. I can't make pasta for dinner because like, I'm just going to boil the water wrong. Or, I don't know how to do laundry. There's like a button. You just put your clothes in and like put the detergent in and like press another button. I am somebody who does not put up with that. I am no longer going to these lengths to try to make people grow up, to turn them into adults, to fix them, for lack of a better word. And again, until a guy rolls up into my life or I meet them somewhere on a dating app or something, where I'm not having to explain these basic principles to them or begging them to do these bare minimum tasks, then I'll start dating again. Because until then, I'm not wasting my time. I have better things to do. I'm a busy person. I'm just not wasting my time with that. And neither should you. But there have been far too many instances where I've just wasted my valuable time. I've wasted my effort, my energy, my feelings to try to fix these guys or to try to teach them how to be the right person. And I'm just no longer in that place in my life. At 27 years old, I don't have the time and energy for that. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm just not willing to do that for somebody else who is not going to stick around in my life long enough to prove that they're even worth it. Because here's the thing, I know for a fact that there is someone out there for me. And I know when I meet that guy that he's going to do the bare minimum and then probably more than that. He's going to be able to communicate with me like an adult. He's going to treat me with respect. He's going to be loyal to me. He's going to be a good person without me having to beg for it. He'll be there and it will be great. Because again, like I mentioned, I'm at this point in my life where I am no longer going to beg people to act a certain way. Same thing with friendships. I'm not 16 anymore. I'm not going to beg my best friend to make plans with me. I'm not going to beg my best friend to listen to me when I'm having a hard time and to like help give me advice and things like that. If you are a good friend, if you are in a friendship with somebody, naturally they should be listening to you and helping you and making you a better person. It's not worth it for me to beg this person to please be my best friend, to please listen to me, to please help me when I'm having a hard time. That should just be part of being in a friendship together. Like, it's just not something that you should beg for. Again, I myself have been in situations where I've had to beg for certain things, but I've also seen some of my closest friends be in these terrible relationships with these guys who just frankly suck, and they're not doing anything that is honestly worthy enough for my friend to be with or anything like that. And I hate it. And I think there are just so many, especially women out there who are just with guys who are just so average and aren't treating them well and are, mentally or physically abusive, or they're cheating on them, or they're just acting like children, and people just put up with it. And I truly hate that. And I just wish people would be able to move on from that, because there is someone out there who would treat you so much better. There really, really is. It also makes me think of married couples, especially married couples that have children. And you always see like the woman doing all of the childcare and the shopping and the taking care of the kids and all this stuff and like taking the kids out and stuff. But then you have like one Saturday where the mom is like wanting a chill, quiet Saturday by herself, and the dad takes the kids to the park, or the dad takes the kids out to the grocery store, and the dad is getting all these compliments. Oh my gosh, you're such a good dad. You are the best dad of the year. You're a hero. Look at you taking out the 2 kids to the grocery store or to the park. You're the best dad in the world. But does mom ever get those compliments? Are the moms ever getting, those sorts of things being said to them? Probably not. Because it's just expected of women to be the caregiver, to be in that role naturally. In reality, it's like, well, why isn't mom getting these comments? Like, oh, mom's the hero. Look at mom. Oh, you're so brave. Look at you taking the kids out. You're the best. But instead, we're only giving these compliments to the dad because it's just expected that the mom does that. But when the dad does it, oh, he's a hero because he is just really, he is just going above and beyond. To me, that is the bare minimum. If dad's taking the kids out to the grocery store or to the park on a Saturday, that's the bare minimum. You are their father. Why would you not be doing those things? Mom's doing it. You might as well be doing it too. It just grinds my gears. I hate it so much. Because here's the thing that guys don't want to hear. You're not a hero for being loyal or for having good communication or for being trustworthy or for showing respect. You're not a hero for any of those things, and you're not going to be rewarded for such. Those traits are called being a decent human being. And I'm so sick of people trying to reward people for having basic human traits, qualities that make you a good person. We're not going to reward this behavior because you texted somebody back in a timely fashion. We're not going to reward this behavior for you being trustworthy. Like, since when are we going to reward people for being just basic, decent human beings? That's what I don't understand. If you want my honest opinion, sometimes I feel like the bar is in hell when it comes to standards and when it comes to what people are looking for in other people or how people are being treated these days. Especially, again, from my perspective, certain men treating certain women a certain way. It's like the bar is in hell, genuinely. Like, when I hear girls being like, oh my gosh, he like made eye contact with me when I was telling him a story. Be so for real, please. Please don't mistake adult, human, normal traits for green flags and for going above and beyond. Please, please don't. Because remember, the bare minimum is just that. We're not rewarding the bare minimum behavior. We're not going to be telling men that they're heroes for being good communicators or for putting their dishes in the dishwasher. We're not doing that anymore. We're also not going to waste our time with trying to fix these traits. If you're not already respectable and loyal and good with communication and courteous, I'm not about to fix that. We are done doing that. We're not wasting our time on that anymore. And we've got better things to do. And we know that there are better people out there for us if that person that we're interested in is not willing to do those things. This is the end of the episode, which means it's time for a random fun fact. The term French vanilla is often used to designate preparations with a strong vanilla aroma, containing vanilla grains and sometimes also containing eggs, specifically the egg yolks. The appellation originates from the French style of making vanilla ice cream with a custard base using vanilla pods, cream, and egg yolks. To be honest, I am a French vanilla fan over basic vanilla any day. As always, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Girl on the Internet podcast. If you are watching the video form right now, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're an audio listener, come hang out over on the YouTube channel. If you loved me, you would do that. Please don't let me down. Thank you so much. Wherever you are listening, be sure to rate and review this podcast. Make sure to give it 5 stars, leave a review, subscribe, comment, share it, all those good things. Trying to get Girl on the Internet out there for more people to listen to, you know? Be sure to follow at Girl on the Internet Pod on Instagram so you can keep up with the podcast. All my other socials will be linked below. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you go easy on yourself, and I'll see you next week with a new episode.